We out here, y'all.
Hey. It's a new month.
It's a new day. It's a new dawn.
As my daughter woke up and said, "It's time."
Oh my! Not the Mariah. It's time.
Yes.
Like, I don't want a lot for Christmas.
As of this recording, she has not started decorating, but maybe she has by November 7th.
You know, there's nothing like our current environment to encourage us to need a little Christmas.
I know. I get mixed feelings. Like, I don't always love the aesthetic of it. So,
but as soon as it's over, I want to pack it all up and have my
shit
clean,
out of here.
I want my clean, organized house again.
By December 20th, I'm over it.
Oh, that's my birthday.
I mean,
it's the perfect time to be over it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's going on in all of our world?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about Vegas Market, which if you're planning on attending in January or the summer, it'll get you prepared. It's also a little bit of some of it overlaps with High Point, I think, like preparation wise.
Yeah, like what to pack kind of stuff. And we actually had a few hotties when we were at High Point Market saying, "Oh my God, I just went back and listened again because I wanted to like get ready and like make sure I had all the stuff in my bag that I needed." So it again proves that it's a useful resource.
I know someone else gave us the idea of doing a checklist, which I think we need to make that happen.
Okay.
Someday.
It could be, we'll just Canva will do it. Not sponsored by Canva, but
just chat.
Canva AI, help me create it. Anyway, with some other cool stuff coming up too a little bit later this month.
Yeah, we're hosting a webinar with Mo's Home.
Yes, we get to be the moderators again, which is so much fun. There'll be an exciting list of panelists that will be joining us, and mark your calendars for the live webinar. It's going to be on November 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a fun way to look at Mo's trend reporting. So if you're looking to get a little bit of insight on that, head to the link in our Instagram bio. We'll tell you how to get enrolled or how to make sure that you get logged in on the day of, but we'd love to see you hotties there.
Please, please. And on the blog, something we've been really trying to stay consistent with. I'm very proud of us because, it's hard, y'all. Content is hard. But we love having your help. So we're having our little hottie features. So if you have a project that you just want to get out in the wild with new eyes, please submit it.
Please, please. We love sharing your projects. And Mary Beth Sullivan's most recent project, shout out, Mary Beth, we got to see you in High Point, and we're so happy that we get to share your project with everybody too.
And just selfishly, it helps us get to know you guys better and what you're doing. And then when we do see you in High Point and you come to one of our panels or something, we can recognize you and be excited about your work.
Exactly.
Which is what happened.
There you go.
True
Imagine, almost like we meant for it to be that way. And then Jessica's episode coming up that you guys are all about to listen to, I think I just really valued the fact that she was being so open and transparent with us. You guys have heard that we've been trying to find photographers to talk with us just low key and a chance to speak about things and curious about licensing and photographing projects. And I love that she was open for that with us. This was not like a witch hunt. We were out here to really understand photographers and their perspective and just hear some like fair conversation.
Yeah, because we love our photographers. We need them. We rely on them. And we are a partnership for sure. But they're not all created equal. Jessica's one of the best. So
I think you guys are going to really love this episode with Jessica Burke.
Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
I'm Rebecca Plum, your big sister.
And I'm Shaun, your GBF.
We're not that hot or that young,
but we believe it's a state of mind that helps us build adaptable and profitable businesses.
We rely on the support of our design besties to get through each day.
So let's explore the emotional, practical, and humorous sides of being interior designers.
Welcome to the club.
Hey, Shaun.
What's up, Rebecca?
We have a fun day today. We have photographer Jessica Burke. Hi, Jessica.
Hello.
So excited to have you. We've been talking about this for like 6 months, I feel like.
I know. So true. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited that we're finally here.
Thank you for coming.
And we've talked a lot about photography on this show, and we're just really excited to learn more about your work and get into it a little bit in a friendly, everyone is having a beautiful business kind of way.
Do you want to start, Jessica, by telling us a little bit about you, how you started in your business, where you're at?
Yes. So I started shooting professionally in 2009. And I started in the wedding industry. So I photographed weddings for 10 years. Once we had our second child, I kind of took a work hiatus. I was a little burnt out on the wedding scene and, just kind of wanted to focus on family at the time. So as my kids were getting older and I was wanting to get back into the working world and have a creative outlet, COVID happened. And we actually moved during COVID to our current house. And we bought this 1950s rancher from the original owner. My husband and I were like, well, wait 10 years until the kids are older and can't ruin all the beautiful things that we want to remodel the house with. And that lasted about 2 months.
I was going to say famous last words.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, it has such great bones, but just functionality wise, it had been almost 60 plus years since it was built. And there was Formica countertops and no counter space. So we started with the kitchen. And with the help of one of my friends who was getting into interior design, I designed it and really loved it. And I thought about becoming an interior designer. I even looked into I'm based in the Bay Area. There's a lot of really amazing schools here that you can take programs and learn all the things. And I was really interested in that until I discovered AutoCAD and just knowing, truly, I am so impressed with what you guys can do. Every time I shoot a project, I'm so impressed. And yeah, it just wasn't I just realized it wasn't my skill set. Even now, looking at my kitchen, I'm like, there's some proportions that are off. And
all of our first projects aren't our greatest. So.
Very much
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That being said, so I started looking at jobs within the interior design industry and found a position at an interior design firm working on the marketing side. And that was just really an amazing opportunity. My position ran really parallel with running my photography business, just with less shooting. So I was managing their social media. I was the liaison between their PR firm and the design firm. They also were going through a rebrand at the time. So I helped coordinate that. And then a lot of my job was also just to produce the photo shoots. So scouting locations, creating the shot list, finding the photographer, which I really loved. And it kind of opened my eyes to what shooting interiors really looks like. And I have this story I always tell, but it was this moment. I had this aha moment where I was on a shoot and, kind of supposed to be the type A, keeping everyone on track. And I was like off in the primary bathroom. Look at the pretty light in here. Like, come in here. This would be an amazing fun. I'm sure I annoyed the photographer, but she's very, very gracious. And just really realized that, I want to be the creative, and I'm not really a type A type anyway. So it made a lot of sense. So I left the firm and started shooting interiors. And it was this really great marriage for me of two loves, because I truly do love interior design in general, and obviously photography as well. It's kind of always come back to me. So I've been shooting interiors for about 2.5 years, almost 3 years. And
is that it?
Yeah,
wow.
love it. Yeah.
Congratulations.
That's it. Thank you.
And you definitely had sort of trial by fire, which I think a lot of designers can also relate to in their, even if they've had education and training and all of that, it's just nothing replaces the oh my God, that's how it really works realizations of
Yes,
like,
exactly.
oh my God, I forgot this. Or of course it seems so easy. I was missing a major piece of what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, or like I'm not actually finished learning, I guess. Like every
Yeah.
project, it's a new one.
I mean, I probably shouldn't tell this story, but there was our last home. We did this large addition and became really friendly with the contractor. And he was like, "Oh, we have a couple kitchens, do you want to shoot them?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And I mean, the photos are it's
Oh
like
no.
floodlights are on. I just didn't know what I was doing. So
Yeah.
not even realize, that was several years before I worked at the interior design firm. And then after seeing a full photo shoot, it like clicked. It's like, oh, yeah, you don't need the overhead cams on. That does look terrible. And in most instances, not on all
Yeah.
instances.
Yeah, I've worked with a few photographers that transferred skills over to this industry, and it seems like there's a lot of unlearning to do from other industries, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a different mindset when you're photographing people and weddings, especially, and then coming into interiors, like your settings are completely different. The way you want the light is completely different. So,
The angles are completely different.
yes, I mean, even using a wider angle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I love it so much, though, because it is challenging and every space is different. And I appreciate that.
And I know it still has its stresses, but I feel like I know a few photographers that have gone from weddings to interiors. And I just feel like weddings are just so high stakes. There's no room for, let's come back and do this tomorrow. Like, I know photographers who lost film or film got damaged when they were shooting film. Like, it's so scary.
Yes. I actually had a moment. I had been shooting weddings for a few years, and my brother and I were chatting, and he's like, "Do you ever think about the fact that you're photographing like the most important day of people's lives?" And I'm like, "No, I never thought about it like that, but now I do, and you're stressing me out."
The most expensive. And in a way, like our projects are like that too, but you're going more business to business. So like the emotion, like designers get emotional about our work as well, but you're not mostly like dealing with the clients who they don't care how our photos turn out usually. So
right.
It's more of a collaboration, right?
Yes. Yeah,
I've definitely put a lot of pressure on my photo shoots though, or especially early where you're just like, I need this to look right. Maybe I'm going to try to pitch it, or I just want it to be really beautiful because I've been waiting so long to get them. And I think a lot of designers come in with that mentality of, oh, this is a good one, or this is a big one. Like, I really want to capture everything perfectly and beautifully.
But I feel like good photographers, and I know your personality is like this too, is you guys are just like kind of the zen. But like, you don't need to tell me how to set the aperture. Like, I got that part. You just do your side of it. I'll be on this side of the camera. Like, there's an overlap of collaboration a lot of the time. But I feel like you guys are always like the calm ones, which is very helpful.
Yeah. And I think that, that's one thing that I always tell clients about hiring a stylist. And not even, I have a lot of clients who love to style and they're really amazing at it. So it's, but for those more important projects or for those larger projects, just to lift that burden from the designer, it can be really nice, because I had one client who I've worked with several times who the day of the photo shoot, she had hired a stylist, hadn't historically worked with stylists, and she was like, what do I do? This is amazing. Like, I just here and everyone's
just
doing all the
stay looking
things.
cute and maybe get a headshot out of this day.
Not sweat through your Lululemons all day.
Oh my
thank
God.
you.
Like, actually.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I recently started using a stylist this last year on some of my bigger projects, and I'm one of those designers who wants to do everything. Like, I've even done my own photography. I'm not recommending it, but it's too much. Like, you only have one body, one set of hands, one set of eyeballs. Like, I can't be everywhere all at once. And it's like, I'm not doing anything super well when I'm that distracted and fragmented.
That's the thing. Like, hire what you don't know-ish. I mean, you could kind of maybe piece it together, but that's something that I'm also learning in my own business is more hands make a lighter load for everyone.
Yeah, and where do I
Absolutely.
really need
Yeah.
to be, and where can I really shine and
Exactly.
let other people do things better? Like, of course,
Right.
like the photographers I hire are better photographers than I am. Like, that's what you guys do all day. Stylists, like if you find the right stylist that you have like a shared vision with, I'm like, oh my God, that shelf is done. Like, it looks great. Like, I can
It's
just say,
always the shelves.
oh,
too.
the shelves are take hours, and we'll just like overthink it. Where if somebody just comes in for the day, they know what it looks good. Like, we can tweak things, but for the most part,
Yeah.
the heavy lifting just casually happens. Like, I don't know, same thing. I think maybe I'm just a frenetic energy on a shoot, but the stylist I work with, Emily, she's just, I'm just gonna casually just drop these flowers in this vase and they look effortlessly amazing.
Yes. The stylists always are the chillest person on the set. I don't know how they're just like, "Boop," something, drop something on the table. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
I'm just
just
gonna throw a towel and it just falls
yes.
perfectly. I don't know how they
Yeah.
do it.
Part of this, I think, for a lot of like new designers would sound really exhausting or overwhelming, or maybe out of reach too, which is very true. Like when Rebecca and I first
Absolutely.
started, I feel like we've talked about this way in the past of like the money we made off of one project paid for the photography for that project and not much else sometimes because you're just like trying to get like great shots. And so the idea for a lot of designers of hiring a stylist or like how they level up photography, like in full transparency, it's a big shift. It does require time to get there, like the investment that you put into it. You kind of just try to get like the best you can at the time you're in, which is so true of like
Absolutely.
most of our lives, right?
Yes. I actually speak a bit about this at Haven too. I'm not ever going to be, the photographer that's telling you that you should shoot every single project.
Mhm.
It makes a lot of sense from a business perspective to really save your budget for photography and potentially a stylist for those projects that are very creatively aligned with your design sensibility and the larger projects. Like that makes so much sense. There's also ways that you could work with a photographer. Like I have a few clients who I still offer half days to, and we'll do 2 different small projects in one half day and just trying to make things a little more cost effective. I totally can understand the cost burden that photo shoots are, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I always tell people, like, only put out what you want more of. Like, even
Yes.
if it had some sort of prestige or, I don't know, there was a name attached to it or something. But if you don't like the work and you don't want more of it, don't put that on the hook. Like, you're fishing for your next
Yeah.
project.
I am a huge proponent of that because I believe so much in branding, and everything that you're putting out into the world is a reflection of who's going to be attracted to you. And so if the work doesn't resonate, or if there's, something about it that just felt off to you, maybe it wasn't an ideal client, you don't have to shoot it. You don't have to shoot every
I
project.
know.
Yeah.
We need
And
to hear that sometimes.
It's hard in the beginning, though, when you have literally
Yeah.
nothing.
Yes.
Like, you're just like,
Yes.
what can I scrape together here?
Totally.
Have you ever had a moment where you are talking to a designer and you're like,
Don't shoot
hey,
this.
this shoot is going to be a really heavy lift on your part because you're going to be pulling in a lot of stuff, or it's just not there, or I'm limited by angles. Like, do you have those types of conversations?
I don't. I haven't, not specifically that I can recall, but I think more so with the heavier lift, that's when I'm always kind of pushing maybe a stylist or, and that's again, that's more to help alleviate the burden from the designer. If you're traveling for a shoot, or if you have a two-day shoot that you really want to, potentially get published in a magazine, it's really beneficial to, again, have someone who's helping carry that load, but also someone who has eyeballs on a project that you've potentially been working on for several years. It's just that little refreshing take,
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like, I'm sure the projects can feel so close and you've been looking at it for so long.
Yes.
Having someone else come in and kind of help with that.
Just be the editor. Yeah, like, we don't even need to shoot this room. Like, if you don't love it or things aren't exactly like you wanted, let's just skip it.
I do have those conversations. If we're tight on time, and we're kind of, there's a whole house, or it's even a full day or a half day even, and we don't have to, it's like, what can we edit out here? And that goes for shots too. And that's something that I, going back to being collaborative on photo shoots, I very much view the photo shoot as a collaboration between not just myself and the designer, but the stylist or whoever else is on set. I will frame up the shot coming from a photographer's perspective. The light's coming in a certain way, or I really see this angle. And if it's kind of catching something that doesn't, again, resonate with your design sensibility, or you would never put the image on Instagram, like, let's just move on. We don't have to shoot it. So
I know, I think we get so caught up in how much time and effort we put into every space we touch, but it's like, it's just a guest room with a cute duvet and pillows. Like, we don't, like, it's their old bed. Like, we don't need to shoot this.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And it's also, I think, an ego thing sometimes. If we have a whole house, we want to kind of prove we did a whole house. But sometimes,
and if you talk to PR firms, they're going to tell you, shoot the whole house, if you're trying to pitch it, so there is a little bit of that, but you only have so much time in the day. And in order to be as efficient as possible, if you need to scale back, I'm always happy to kind of give my input on spaces that.
Hey, hotties. If you love the show and wish we'd name names, or you want to hear even spicier design rants, then you're going to want to join our loyal hotties on Patreon.
For just $20 a month, you'll get access to exclusive episodes, including our process party episodes where we can share screens, do business deep dives, and join us in our monthly live hottie hangouts. There we talk shop, share wins, and sometimes overshare.
Yeah, you'll also get 20% off of all of our business tools and templates in our shop and access to our private Facebook community. That's where we really get to share some juicy extras that we don't post anywhere else.
And just so you know, the Hot Young Designers Club is made possible by listeners like you. So thank you for being part of this community.
Come hang out with us. Become a loyal hottie today at patreon.com/HYDC. Yeah.
What in your experience are the main spaces for feature from a PR angle that you know about?
So historically, every time I've had a shoot, I actually have a really interesting story about this. I was hired for a full day. We have this beautiful outdoor area. We got some amazing photos at sunrise. There was a primary bedroom, a dining room, a living room, all very beautifully designed. The designer, my client, did not do the kitchen, but the PR firm said, you need to shoot the kitchen, like figure out a way to style it in a way, add some bar stools, something to where it aligns creatively with you. And the designer also asked me to change the color of the kitchen cabinets from a kind of a slate blue, I would say, to a plum, which was quite a difference and very fun. And that was one of the images that got picked up by the magazine. So I feel like a kitchen's definitely mandatory.
Yeah.
And, living rooms always do well, bathrooms. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a full home in that, there's a laundry room and a guest room and all these things. As long as you have a kitchen, a main space, a living room, potentially a dining room and a bedroom, even hopefully a bathroom, even if it's a powder, that's kind of full home, really, I think, when it comes to pitching.
Yeah, the PR person I worked with recently, I think she called them hard spaces.
Yes,
is that the term?
With hard surfaces.
Yeah, like 2 hard space rooms and then
that makes sense.
The other soft rooms that you have.
Yeah.
Which was a interesting way of thinking about it, but also makes sense.
Yeah, that really does. I feel like the audience wants to see the hard surfaces, tile, countertop, stone, etc. So that makes a lot of sense.
And then meanwhile, we're just over here like, but look at the drapery and all the soft, like we want the soft, and we want that too. But yeah, there's going to be a realistic limitation to like where a PR agency is going to be able to like get some circulation out of that. They want clicks, they want views, and yeah, kitchens and bathrooms still. Most homeowners are going to do at least one of those. So you're going to get traction if if we're going to shoot a space, we should try to capture those.
But they're also the most
right.
expensive rooms because they need the most renovation. So like that, this just happened to me where I didn't do the kitchen and I tried to get away with the bar stool and the island painting upgrade, but it wasn't enough. So
Yeah.
I bet the client's not ready to drop whatever, 200 grand
Totally.
for my feature.
Yeah, they're not. They're like, that's great, Rebecca. Good for you. Yeah.
Like, I'm really trying to get this published. Can we just do the kitchen too? Yeah.
You help me out here.
What are your favorite spaces to shoot?
I mean, I love a good living room. Honestly, anything with color. I love color. I love creating mood and just working with the light. I don't even know that I have a favorite space truly. I know that sounds maybe like I'm not answering the question, but
do you have a least favorite? Just like a windowless powder room?
Actually, I don't mind windowless powder rooms. I think more so bathrooms with just like one window where it's actually our bathroom here. I designed it the same way of how I dislike shooting bathrooms. Didn't really fully think that through. You know, when it's like a long, narrow window and you can't really light outside of it, those are the ones that are more challenging, I would say. But again, going back to, I think why I love shooting interiors so much is like working through those challenges on set is like, it's a fun, difficult exercise, but I appreciate it.
Like it's a puzzle sometimes. Like, where is that reflection coming? What is that highlight? Where is it coming from? Like, go put your hand over there. Trying to find it.
My assistant is constantly walking around with her arm.
Or like she has to stand outside holding a sheet for 10 minutes.
Yes. I have some really wonderful assistants and they put up with a lot. There'll be occasions where my client will be like, wait, is your assistant still here? I'm like, they're outside still. It's fine. Where do we do this? It's fine. Where do we do this?
I'll tell them to come in when I'm ready to tell them to come in.
Exactly.
They have to train like holding the bucket of water over their heads in the pool to like be able to hold things up.
I know. Every time they're like, this is my arm workout. I didn't have to go to the gym.
Seriously. What does your team look like? Do you have like a full-time assistant team?
I do not have full-time. I have a few assistants that I work with. One is my main currently predominantly. She's amazing. I actually just hired her on as a part-time employee to help with admin tasks and some social media stuff that I just, can't keep up with. Yeah, it's exciting. She just started last week. So we're in like training mode, which is, it's a lot, but it's really fun. And she's pumped about it too. So
what does it look like to grow as a photographer? Because like we can have other designers under us pretty easily, but it seems like harder to like let go of some of that creative work.
Yeah, there's a few avenues. One is I have a few photographer friends who I've met who grow their team from a photography perspective, and they have photographers that they train to send out potentially to even like real estate. So they have a, more luxury inclined interior design part of their business, but then the other part is more luxury still, but real estate, obviously you shoot a little differently. Intentions are different.
Yeah.
But it's more of a training ground too for those photographers to kind of learn how to potentially shoot interiors, and they can kind of move on to that arena. So that's really growing. I think the way to expand, your shooting capabilities, because obviously I'm just one person. There's only so many days in the year that I'm capable to shoot. So another way to free up my time, I just recently started working with an editor for some of my larger projects, which is incredibly helpful because it allows me to have more shooting days versus sitting behind the computer and editing.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are kind of the two ways to grow the business for us. It's not quite as scalable, I feel like, for design firms. But then I've spoken to a lot of designers who, much like myself, I'm not really interested in scaling my business and having a bunch of photographers under me. I so respect the photographers who are able to do that. I'm just not the best at managing people, I feel.
It's the whole thing.
Not really in my skill set. Yeah, it's a whole
Yeah.
thing. I can only imagine. So there's a lot of designers who feel the same and they want to keep small firms. They maybe only want to have 2 employees or they want to have 5. The firm that
Mhm.
I worked at, there was 20 plus, and that was a lot. That's a lot.
I mean, they're constantly just like keeping things moving. And if you want to be the creative involved, then you're probably going to find yourself with less and less time for that unless you build in a whole like admin and support team just so you can keep doing more of that creative work, which is some firms do that. I could imagine that'd be hard as a photographer because you're probably your highest paying clients or someone who'd be willing to pay more is also going to want you involved in that instead of like your apprentice photographer who's also very skilled, but they want to have like your name attached to it, especially if it does help them eventually get more press opportunities by having a better photographer linked to their project. Then
Right.
it makes that easier for editors and PR people to say, oh, yeah, we know the work that this photographer produces. We know we can get that quality we're looking for and the styling we're looking for. And so for a designer, too, it's almost like you're interviewing who you think is going to be the best partner for you going forward because the photography becomes so linked to the work that we create in the
Yes.
design.
And it's crazy. I guess I won't name the designer's name, but she's very, very famous designer, recently sold her home that kind of launched, I think, what people know of her work. And somebody sent me the link to the home listing, which was a real estate photography. It took me several clicks to realize it was the same house that I was looking
Oh,
at.
interesting.
And it's a house that I know very well, and just the photography tells such a story. The work that you guys do pushes our work so much further than just standing back and snapping an iPhone photo. Like, it just doesn't translate, and it's not what people want. Like, people wanna see these beautiful, rich, detailed photos that you guys take. So it's very much a partnership for us to be able to do our jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, that is so appreciated to hear that. First, let me say that. But also, I talk to clients about this, and I've had several in the past just ask me, should I be using the same photographer? Do you think it matters? And I am the first one to say it doesn't have to be me, but yes, you should definitely be using the same photographer because you're building that relationship. And every time we work together, we're getting that much better working together and understanding one another, understanding myself, understanding your design and what you really excel at. And then the designer understanding how I shoot, how long it's going to take me to photograph a room and also just building that friendship too. There's
Yeah.
so many of my clients now that I just adore and a lot of them, I wish we lived closer so we could go out for coffee or drinks more often. But it's such a collaboration and it is such you're with the person for generally at minimum 4 to 5 hours straight. And then for the longer shoots, it's like could be 14 hours times 2.
So true.
And you're not like at your best at the end of those days. Like you need somebody that's not gonna drive you crazy or be triggered by you being tired or whatever.
I had a really big 2-day shoot recently with a client who I've worked with several times and I adore her. And then not the next day, but like 2 days later, I had another full day shoot and she was like DMing me like, how are you alive right now? Like
I know.
it's a lot. You put a lot into it and just even an emotional toll and physical, 14 hours standing on your feet. It's a lot.
Like bending over at an awkward angle.
I always look at my Apple Watch at the end of the day and I'm like, how is it only 6,000 steps? Like, that's not possible. I feel like I walked 10 miles today, but it's just standing.
But also, I always say photo shoot days are so exhausting. Yes, it's the standing. Yes, it's the schlepping and stuff that we do. But the brain work that happens, I feel like, I mean, you are more practiced at it than we are, but it's just using a different muscle in your brain that it's like the micro decisions. You're making thousands and thousands of these tiny decisions throughout that day that I think just is exhausting.
Yes, I agree. There's always a moment on like every shoot where I just like turn to my client or my assistant even sometimes, and I'm like, what we do is so weird. Like we're literally just like 1 inch here, but it all matters, you know, when you're looking at the frame, it's like that does make a difference moving that object
It
half an
does.
inch and a hair this way, a hair that way. I always say that. And it's just so funny to think about what we do really on a granular level, but it does matter. It matters.
does matter.
And it is exercising a different part of your brain for sure.
Yeah. And it's still okay, despite all of that, it's okay for us to do something that is sort of like not necessary. And it is a luxury. And it's creating a beautiful home is definitely something that most people will never get to do. And you're putting on your jewelry when you go out. You're not going to leave one earring off. You're going to like put that together or get your jewelry untangled, or you want to put your best foot forward with everything that we do and everything we create. And I appreciate that you're sharing that like same passion, because I do think that there are like full candor with all this. It's like there's some like maybe not animosity overall, but like if you don't feel like you're aligned with your photographer and their licensing and their agreements and everything that they need to do, yeah, your shoot is going to be a million times harder. So I think that's part of what drove us to like have some of this conversation with you, is like talking more about what that relationship looks like with designers from like a contract perspective or a licensing perspective, and maybe what are some of the realities that exist within your industry and the way that photographers in general work that designers should know. Designers need to be aware of these things.
Right. Yes, the licensing discussion. Let's do it. So yeah, when I do retain copyright, and just prefacing this to say this is kind of how I have handled this in my business, because I've had conversations with clients about it, and I certainly understand, where designers are coming from, but I retain the copyright for generally all of the shoots that I partake. And there is the possibility to buy out images, but I've never had anyone even ask to do that. So, I do license images to third parties. Typically, I'm not one who I haven't formulated a program within my own business to reach out to vendors in search of the licensing. What typically happens for me is vendors find out, I've photographed this their product, or it's a lot of stone companies, a lot of tile companies, occasionally furniture companies was used in the photo shoot. And so they, want to discuss licensing. Typically, it's just website and social use. Occasionally, vendors will want to use the images for editorial purposes, which is a separate license. But yeah, I've had clients kind of say, this is weird. Like, we work on this project for 2 to 3 years, and you come in and you shoot it, and we can't share those images with whoever we want. Like, it feels not right. And I, to be completely fair, like completely understand where the designers are coming from. That said, I think as I've, been photographing interiors, I've kind of felt more slighted by the companies wanting the free images. When pre-social media, they had these large budgets for photo shoots and were producing all their own marketing materials. And now that we're in this age of truly images are everywhere, they kind of expect to be able to use whatever they want to sell their products and to market their business when they're making millions and millions of dollars a year potentially, and not wanting to pay the photographer for their copyrighted work. That's really the affliction that I have with it. That said, there are several clients that I've started talking to about splitting the licensing fee in a way that we both feel comfortable with, so that they feel like they're getting something back from that.
Yeah, because ultimately these giant companies are asking for me, this lowly interior designer of one, to pay for their advertising. Like, I don't blame you for selling the copyrighted images. It's these giant companies that are making millions, and I am not, but I'm paying for your creative that you've fired your team, no longer hire creatives. Like, What the
I mean,
hell?
I see how much work a designer puts into a photo shoot, particularly if there isn't a stylist, but I mean, it's not even just the photo shoot. It's really the project as a whole. So you're
Yeah.
working on a project for at minimum several months to, a few years.
Mhm.
You spend thousands of dollars, not including the time and energy that it takes for you to coordinate the photo shoot, but you spend thousands of dollars on the photo shoot, and then the companies are coming in wanting to just use those, and they're using them not, and this isn't to say like, oh, a company posts an image on Instagram, I'm going to invoice them. Technically they should have a license to use that image, but it's more so in the, you're tagging your product that viewer could just click on and purchase. That is direct marketing,
Yeah.
and they should be paying for that. And it's all around, it just, and I guess the other part of it that irks me a little bit is a lot of the companies know they should be paying, and they try
Yeah.
to get by without paying on, until they're caught. But
Right.
yeah, who has the time to police that? That isn't a part of my business where I'm scouring Instagram to see who used my images. But it does feel like this whole murky thing that just, I don't know, it doesn't feel great with the stealing of the images. And I don't know, it would be nice to kind of come together as a whole between designers and photographers and kind of figure this out together.
Yeah, like everything's changed so dramatically with the way that social media has shifted how photography is used and seen, that even we have very little control over our imagery. That like I've spotted things, other designers have spotted things that companies are taking to regenerate with AI or Photoshop and put imagery in. So I know there's a lot of pieces that don't make sense right now. There's just like the laws and the business practices have not had time to catch up to this very new reality that exists for, in our case, we're just focusing on like really designers and photographers together. I'm sure there's other podcasts that are exploring all the other like related industries who get impacted. But it feels like we're in this like no man's land where the resources that exist and the business practices that exist don't make sense with what we're currently looking at.
Yeah, and I mean, you throw in the AI and it gets even murkier. I've seen recently where a designer had posted on social media about a large product company that did steal her image, and where is it? Can you litigate that? Where there's no, like, the laws haven't caught up to where we are currently, and it doesn't. I don't know. It feels like the Wild West almost.
It really does.
Yeah.
And then there are, I mean, I know, I don't think you do this, but there are photographers that it is a leg of their business to take images and start shopping them out to the appliance companies and lighting. And that's just what they do. And the designers have no control over that. I'm assuming they signed a contract, but it is something you should be aware of if you're not okay with that. Like, does your photographer do
Yes.
that?
Yeah. So even when I do receive an email from a vendor wanting to license the images, I'm always going back to my client to say, hey, Clay wants to license images, like they're looking at this one, or is that fine? And usually I haven't really had anyone say no, but I do understand there's so many nuances within a project where maybe, a stone company sent the wrong slab. I mean, who knows, and it created this big, huge problem. And the designer doesn't really want them to be able to use the photos. And that's totally understandable. And I would completely respect their opinion with that. I'm very much the type that, I mean, even when it comes to, because we've been talking mostly about vendor licensing. So there's also the publications should be licensing the images when the images are published. And that doesn't happen very often anymore. There's very few publications that will pay for an image license. And I've had clients reach out, kind of flustered, feeling like I'm going to say no to them having their project published because I'm not going to get paid because the publication doesn't have a budget for licensing. I would never do that. But that's, again, just how I run my business. I'm sure there are some photographers who do draw that hard line, and I respect that as well. again, I feel like there's this kind of transition happening within the industry, and we just want our images to be respected and our work, and much like designers as well.
Yeah.
And so it just, when companies, I have had instances where my work is published without me even knowing, and that feels not great. I mean, I'm excited to be published, but like, oh, I didn't even know this was happening. Like, that would have been
Like,
nice
where'd you get the
to know.
actual file
Yeah,
from? Like, the way I would have.
yeah, exactly. Where did you find these?
Is it high res?
Yeah, exactly. I had a photographer friend text me saying, oh, or how much did you license images to this company for? And I was like, I've never licensed images to that company. And she's like, oh, isn't this your image? And they had my image on their homepage, like large.
Of course they did.
And yeah, and I was like, I mean, I'm so flattered, but also like, where did you get that? It's like,
yeah,
they just had lifted images from somewhere, and they were, several of my images were peppered through their website. And so,
did you reach out? What did you do?
Yeah. We worked through a rate that we both felt comfortable with. I said, if you want to continue to use the images, you need to license them. I mean, you're literally selling a product, and one of my images is on your homepage. So in that instance, I did reach out. I don't do it for small scale, like post or story on Instagram, like, but if you have like 5 to 10 of my images all over your website and one's the main on the homepage, like, I'm going to say something.
Yeah, it's
it feels really glaring at that point. And it's hard to ignore when it feels like they intentionally doing it, which then means inevitably you're having to use your like admin energy to like chase them down and reinforce like, hey, these are professional courtesies, but also laws that are involved now. Like, and no one wants to do that. I get it. It's awkward. Like, I don't want to, no one wants to do that. I don't want to hear, I have contractors who reach out too, and they're like, oh, can we just use I'm like, nope, here's the, like, and then I'm like CCing the photographer now because I also don't want to get like blamed for not properly introducing that idea of like, hey, so glad you love the photos, copying my photographer so that way you guys can discuss. And a lot of them don't want it. Like, they don't want to pay. Oh, I'll just go in with my iPhone or whatever. It's like, okay. I mean, you obviously see the difference between the photography we create and what you're going to create. But I think in general, like, no one wants to be stepping on each other's toes when it comes to photography. And I don't think there is like a malicious intent on or at least I've never experienced it or heard other designers. But I do think that there's a lot of, in the same way that like every designer can run their business differently, every photographer can choose differently too. And we hear the horror stories from designers like, oh, my photographer won't allow even digital press to be pitched without
like
more payment.
New York Times was going to use my project and they said no.
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, well, that genuinely stinks. And now it makes, for designers, you feel like, oh, I didn't realize I had to really ask this stuff up front before my photos were sort of like held hostage, and that I would have to ask for this of why is it that way? And there's such a learning curve. And I do think that it's just that there are so many different ways that photographers can choose to run their business and still be completely within their rights, the way that laws apply to copyright and intellectual property. Like, it's there. We just don't know as designers what to ask or what to look for or what to vet for. And it can make you feel like you got kind of taken advantage of sometimes.
100%. And I'm sure, given that photographers do run their businesses differently, there's probably some that if they were to listen to how I run, they're like cringing and like, oh, but all that is to say, it is so worth having this conversation with your photographer prior to booking them for a photo shoot. Theoretically, every designer should be signing a contract or some kind of agreement when they decide to work with a photographer. So they should have those terms outlined in their agreement. That said, have a conversation with them, because it is definitely worth it to know and fully have visibility on how they manage their copyright. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, because some of these things don't come up for years, where like
Right.
you could be asked to be in a book 2 or 3 years from now, and you may not realize you can't use those images if you don't have that conversation and understanding of what the copyright is and what the photographer's philosophy is on it.
Right, exactly. Because even, in my contract, I do state, I retain the copyright. You have license to use the images for your business. You can't share the images, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm not necessarily going to, it's kind of a case by case
Yeah.
basis too. I'm like, who is wanting to use the images? Who wants to use them for what? And maybe I should be a little more hard-lined with it, but I don't know. I just can't draw those hard lines because I feel like it can be so situational. And again, I'm never going to tell a client that you can't publish your project in a magazine because I want more money. That just doesn't feel good to me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Because no one's going to pay it. That's the problem.
Right. No one's going to pay it. And I mean, again, I'm sure if photographers listen, they're going to be cringing, but truly it's like a couple $100. It's not like it's
I
making or
know.
breaking
They
your
should.
year. So it's potentially faltering a relationship with your client for not a ton of money. Is it worth it? That's not worth it to me.
Yeah, I think that personal touch is sometimes what gets missed in the general like conversations online. And like there's always like a keyboard warrior aspect to things when it's easy to just not see a person. And I do think it matters that you do have a developed rapport and like professional rapport, especially with your photographers. And I think that it's easy to sit on the other side of a keyboard or on the other side of a screen and just be upset about something that happened. And at least for me, I feel like with each photographer that I've worked with, I have felt confident that they were focused on how to help me as well, and that they recognize that for every beautiful project they shoot, they elevate their professionalism and their like credibility and their ability to get bigger projects or to have magazines say, hey, we want you to be the in-house, contracted photographer for this many projects this year. It's like that helps you too. And so there is a little bit of if I win, you win, that is out there. And I don't want to ignore that. Like that is happening. I've felt that a lot with my photographer locally. I work with Charlotte Lee Photography here in Greater LA. And she's just been
She's great.
always someone to say, well, tell me what you're trying to get to, or tell me what you need, or tell me what they're asking for if it's a brand that's coming. And she's like, I feel like there's a way. I mean, I've heard her frequently say, there's got to be a way we can make it work. I'm sure we can find something. And I think that general spirit of it's not a no, it's a, well, let's find out how we can make it work. And I know that she's told me just in passing stories of working with other designers where a brand approached them, this is the budget they had, and she kind of rebuilt around her licensing agreement and what she would distribute and allow for them around where that brand was coming from. And it's a whole world of negotiating and business tactics that's honestly like I don't know if I want to be involved in as the designer either. Like I don't want a brand feeling like I'm the one who's deciding if they get something either. So there is a little bit of protection offered by me not having to be the one doing it all. Like I don't know about licensing contracts, and if I own the full copyright, I don't want to do that either. So like I'm very rarely ever going to see a payoff for that. I don't know.
Right. I think the, overarching thing here really is just communicate with your photographer and have those conversations, and you can negotiate, but all sides can negotiate. So it's really just communicating and having those conversations.
I mean, I think the shared licensing idea makes the most sense. That's what I've always been saying. Like, it's all of our work, and maybe it's not 50-50. Maybe the photographer gets more of a percentage, but it's even just the acknowledgement of we're in a symbiotic relationship. Like, each of us can't do what we need to do without each other.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have found some positive reception to sharing a percentage of the licensing fee. Some clients, kind of speaking to what you just said, Shaun, are just like, I don't care. Like, I don't know. I don't want to know kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so it's really, again, a case by case basis on, clients and who is interested in that. But again, I don't reach out to vendors. So I don't honestly, and maybe that's a revenue stream that I should be pursuing. I don't know. I don't really have a desire to do that, but I probably,
It's a ton of work.
in talking about scaling, it is.
Yeah.
But in talking about scaling your business as a photographer, that is one method that certainly some photographers do utilize.
Which that's why I think the photographer should get more. Like that admin legwork is a huge lift. And like, I don't really need a check for $50, but like maybe like over a threshold, I would care more,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's part of it. That's kind of why, my clients haven't been like gung ho for it because it's not like a hefty sum of money by any means, and there is a lift to it too.
And it's also intention. Like your intention is not to go out and try to sell as many photos to as many companies that we can't, like, who cares about alignment? You're not trying to do that, I have heard stories of photographers that are doing that, and it feels ickier for sure.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I do understand that. I guess it just goes back to like how those like are the photographers who have this additional revenue stream that is inclusive of licensing, and they're making chunk or percentage of their annual income from licensing specifically. Also, is it trickling down to you, and are you getting like a day rate that's
that's another way of sharing it. Yeah. Or like credit to your next shoot or something.
Right, exactly. Like, is it beneficial to you as the designer because they have this whole additional revenue stream? Like maybe my prices are a little higher than another photographer who has this revenue stream with licensing. I don't know.
Or maybe we'll take time to shoot more detailed product shots that I wouldn't want normally. So you can have that option.
Yes. It is funny. I shoot a lot of handhelds, and I never thought about it that way. I don't shoot them to license them. I shoot them because I'm like excited about all the little details that you guys design.
Yeah, like they look beautiful, and you want to be like, no, you'll want this. It's really good. Like, please take this photo that I got for you.
But if it was
like I'm visualizing.
If it was a product shot, you still probably would shoot it differently than you're talking about.
Yes, that's fair. I've had some companies that have reached out for licensing ask if, is there any images without all the styling items? I'm like,
you zoom in.
No, there's not images.
Like, this is what created the best part of the image, truly.
Exactly. Yeah, this is not a catalog shoot. Thank you.
Right. Yes.
But I guess it could be if there was a conversation about it. Like, I did do that with my last shoot where the client had a relationship with a tile company, and he had a conversation about maybe the tile company would want images. So like we did take time to capture a couple extra tile details that I probably wouldn't have normally, just for that option for the client. But that was me doing them a favor.
Right. That's fair. I've had clients do that as well if they're excited about, the tile, and they think they have a good relationship with the company and they want to, I've had that happen.
So really, we just need to have communication, have strong partnerships, trying to help each other. I think that's what we want from all of our work relationships.
Exactly. And it goes back to, building that relationship with your photographer. And, I think that conversations just become easier the longer you work together, and realizing that everything is negotiable. And most creatives don't have those hard lines. So, it's all kind of situational, and don't be deterred, I guess, is more what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, and I really appreciate, just like, I really want you to hear how much we appreciate having the conversation. We have tried to start conversations, and I think it's like, you don't want anyone to feel defensive, and we've never had that feeling from you. And it definitely matters in the way of like just coming constructively to a conversation. And thank you for just doing that with us and sharing more and being open to it. It's definitely very much appreciated. And we can't fight all the keyboard warriors, but we can have real conversations with each other. And I think that's the most appreciated.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I'm so flattered to be here, and I love chatting with you guys. And I think all of this is worthy of more conversation and dialogue and hearing viewpoints and such. So happy to be here.
Absolutely. Do you want to share more with our hotties about where they can find you and keep up with you and what you're working on?
So I am on Instagram, and that's pretty much my only social media outlet. It's all I can handle. My handle is just at Jessica Burke. Website is the same, jessicaburke.com. And yeah, I'm just, I have some really cool projects coming out in print that I'm excited about this year and early next. So be on the lookout for that.
Congrats.
I know it takes so long before they can finally be seen.
Ugh.
So I'm sure that's in the same way that we can't really or share them if we're waiting for a PR opportunity or for them to be placed in media. You're also not able to really let them shine and share them, even though you've seen the gorgeousness of them for a year or more, or even longer before they make it, into print or something. So I know you're just as anxious to see them out there.
Yes, it is painful, truly.
Yeah.
A couple of the projects are like a year. I shot them like a year and a half ago, and I'm just like itching for the print to come out so I can post. I'm honestly kind of terrible at posting on social media too. I should be better about that. But part of it is like I have all these amazing projects that I can't post yet. So
that's so annoying.
Well, we're very excited. We'll put a link to your Instagram and your website in our show notes so hotties can find you and keep up with you and see all your beautiful photography. It's been wonderful. Thank you again for coming and being on the show with us today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
And until next time,
stay hot, designers.
Thanks for listening to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
For more on what we talked about today, check out the show notes.
Your support helps us grow, so share with your design besties.
And subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Our conversations continue on Instagram.
And be sure to download our monthly resources on our website and our Patreon.